Alright, so find the perimeter of the square. If the square has these vertices, and I am just going to plot them. So -2, 0 is D. E is 0, 6. E. F is at 6, 4. And G is at 4, -2. And that is G. Okay, so round each side length to the nearest tenth if necessary. So this is our square. Well, I'm going to use a key thing, and it's a square, so that means every side is going to be the same length. So I only have to find one side. And because I pulled out this handy dandy graph paper, I can count vertically and horizontally. So, and then I'm going to use that. So I'm going to have DE. That looks like a P, but I promise it's a D. DE is going to equal the square root of the horizontal distance. So the horizontal distance is going to be 2. And because I'm starting at D and I'm going to E, it's going to be positive. So 2 squared plus the vertical distance is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that is 6 squared. Now if you notice, I can do the same thing with the coordinates. So if I wanted to do DE is equal to the square root of the coordinates 0 for my x2 and x1. So the horizontal distance would be 0 minus -2, and that all would be squared, plus the vertical distance is our y2 minus y1, which would be 6 minus 0. So if you notice, 0 minus -2 reduces down to 2, and 6 minus 0 reduces down to 6. So the reason why I like graphs is because it does take part of the algebra out of my work. And so I like that because I can visually see, okay, my horizontal distance is 2. Horizontal distance is squared plus the vertical distance is squared, and then to me it is much simpler. So then 2 squared is 4 plus, so I'm going to have the square root of 4 plus 36, because 6 squared is 36, and then I'm going to have 4 plus 6, 36 is 40. So what is the square root of 40? I'm going to come over here, square root of 40, and that equals 6.32. Before I move from this page, I'm going to remember this is a square and it wants to know the perimeter of this square. So I'm going to take 6.32 and add it up 4 times, or you can multiply it by 4. So I'm going to multiply that by 4 because there's 4 sides, so this is going to be 25.29, so 25.3 when it is rounded correctly. Okay, so I did end up with a square root of 40. Before, this is being funny, before we multiply it by 4, they want us to round. So 6.3. 6.3, it's going to be 25.2. There we go. So it wanted us to round the side length first and then add them up. Okay, so now we're moving on to find the rectangle, the perimeter of the rectangle. So let's get rid of our square work. Now the rectangle has 2 long sides and 2 short sides. Thankfully, the 2 long sides are the same length and the 2 short sides are the same length. So I'm going to have to find 2 values, the long side value and the short side value. Alright, so the rectangle has vertices M at -2, 4, and this is why graph paper is really helpful. N is at 1, 5. O is at 3, -1. And P is at 0, -2. Okay, so here's our rectangle. So I'm going to first find the length of MN, and again I'm going to use the distance formula, but instead of using x2 and x1 I'm just going to count. So I know that this is going to be the horizontal distance, so this is 1, 1, 2, 3. So this is going to be 3 squared plus my vertical distance, which is going to be 1 squared. So 3 squared is 9 plus 1 squared. So I'm going to have the square root of 9 plus 1 squared is 1. So we're going to end up with the square root of 10, and you can hear my son squirming in the background. So we're going to have the square root of 10 rounded to the nearest tenth. So I'm looking at the 100th place. That is a 6. That is above a 5. So I'm going to round the 10th to 2. So I'm going to have 3.2. Okay, so MN is approximately 3.2. Alright, that is one of our side lengths. For some reason, my graph keeps disappearing. Okay, so there's MN, that's our short length. So I'm going to have 2 values of that. Now let's find our long length. So we are going to have from NO. And again, I'm going to utilize my graph. you work it out algebraically, just label them x1 and x2. It will come out to be the same. Okay, our horizontal distance comes first, so we have 1, 2, again, well, not again, we have the length of 2 squared. Now it's our vertical distance, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And because we went down, I'm going to have it be -6 squared. So then NO is going to equal the square root of 2 squared is 4 plus -6 squared is +36. And so then we are going to have NO is going to equal to the square root of 40. And I don't remember what that was, even though we've calculated it closely. So the square root of 40 is 6.32 rounded to the nearest tenth. So I'm looking at the 100th place to round my 10th place. And the 2 is below a 5, so my 10th place will stay as a 3. So 6.3 is what is it? It's about 6.3. Okay, now if we look at our rectangle that keeps, my graph keeps disappearing. If we look at this rectangle, remember that MN's side length is the exact same thing as PO, and NO's side length is the exact same thing as MP. So I'm going to take 6.3 and add it up twice, and 3.2 and add it up twice. So we're going to have 6.3 plus 6.3, that's our 2 long sides, plus our 2 short sides, 3.2 plus 3.2. That equals 19. So I'm going to come back over here and type in 19, check answer. Alright, there we have it.